This is the Church of St. Paul in the Desert. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be always acceptable to you, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Well, happy Thanksgiving. In this revised common lectionary, we have different lessons and different combinations of lessons for Thanksgiving every year. And I grew up in the church where we only had one set of lessons for Thanksgiving every year. And furthermore, we only sang one set of hymns for Thanksgiving every year. Well, you got some of those traditional ones today, but you get some others. And I just have to tell you that the hymns themselves, if you turned off right now and decided, I don't really want to listen to this sermon, if all you did was reflect on and reread through those hymns, you would probably come away with an abundant Thanksgiving blessing. Now, my hope is that not more than a few of you will make that choice right now, but we'll take the worship booklet home and think about those things. Reflect on those. And because most of these hymns are so easily singable, wouldn't it be great to find people at home going, I mean, I think that would just make the day. Toiling over the stove, going for that second piece of pumpkin pie. I can imagine all of that. But I want to talk about, particularly from the reading from the Hebrew Scriptures, through the reading from Philippians, and into the Gospel. Thanksgiving isn't just about being the day before Black Friday. Thanksgiving is not just about this giant consumption fest. Thanksgiving is about orienting ourselves toward God and toward life in a particular way. Thanksgiving itself is a spiritual discipline. And you probably hear me talk a lot about spiritual disciplines. But essentially, the spiritual disciplines are things that when we do them, we find ourselves more oriented toward God and toward what God's mission for us in the world is than if we didn't do it. So the first thing is that it's not automatic. It's not necessarily natural, although sometimes it seems pretty natural. You know, when some kind of a celebration comes up and somebody surprises you with an especially kind word or a gift, sometimes being thankful just pours out without even thinking about it. What I'm talking about is the idea that living thankfully all the time requires discipline. It requires work. But the payoff for that work is that we are always oriented toward God. We are always oriented toward Jesus and Jesus' mission in the world. And if we are oriented toward Jesus, then we are always oriented toward the people who are most in need. The first thing in dealing with this discipline is understanding that one of the reasons it is not just suggested, it is not just kind of a wonderful idea that we might give thanks once in a while, it is actually kind of commanded that we be thankful. And the reason is because it's not ours. None of this is ours. Read that in that reading from the Hebrew Scriptures. It talks about when you get into the land that I'm giving you, when you grow those first crops that I'm providing for you. Take the first fruits. Take a tenth. That's where tithe comes from, by the way. Take a tenth of what you do and bring it as an offering. Why? Because it's the way that you let the world know, this is not mine. This is a gift. It's something that God has given me, not so that I sit around feeling guilty and glum all the time because, oh, God had to give me this again, but so that I will orient myself and not think too much of myself. I don't know, but every once in a while people tell me that I think a bit too much of myself. And I think that there are times when it is very hard not to think that, wow, everybody is busy promoting and everything about themselves as if they're the center of everything. So here's the deal. Thanksgiving reminds us that all of the blessings that God gives, all the blessings that God has given in the creation of the world, down to the fact that I have a job that I really love, all of those blessings are blessings that are understood best when they're on the move. Blessings are designed to be moving, and the discipline of thanksgiving helps us to keep them moving. Okay? All of the good things that happened to the people of Israel when they were given a land, the idea that there was supposed to be a Sabbath, that they were to refrain and desist from doing any work on that day so that they might acknowledge the fact that even God rested. That wasn't just for them. That was for everybody whom they had any responsibility for in their world. It was all the people who were strangers in the land who might be blessed by the idea that there was this day off. And there was this day to reflect on and participate in that sense of peace. So Thanksgiving keeps the blessings moving. If I am truly thankful, then I'm not just sitting around saying, wow, look at all of these blessings that I've got. Now, I'm somebody who feels very blessed. Susan is here with me, my wife of almost 40 years. We've got 3 lovely children. They'd probably be really embarrassed that I said lovely. And we have got 5 absolutely gorgeous granddaughters. Now, my idea of Thanksgiving means moving them on doesn't mean that I'm shifting them over to somebody else now. But it means that I understand that as a parent, I don't and never did own my children. All of my pride in them, all of my efforts around them was to move them into a place where they could be full adults, where they could be people who themselves were thankful and learned to live in love and to share that love. And that's what I want to do, and I think my wife wants to do for our grandchildren as well. Our Thanksgiving is our way of passing on to them the idea that all of this is a blessing that is in motion. Now, being Episcopalians, we may think, well, the blessing stopped there. How could it be any better than this? But the reality is that even our worship, our prayers, the blessings that we feel being a part of a community are things that are designed to equip us to look beyond ourselves. So our thankfulness for our congregation is something that always should make us look to how our congregation is moving and relating and sharing those blessings in our community. And I think it's reasonable to say, we're not sharing enough. We might need to share more. And I and the vestry members of the church would love to hear ways in which we could do that. So Thanksgiving is a day not when we sit in a self-satisfied sort of way and say, wow, God, this is pretty neat. I'm just doing fantastic. But rather, God, for all that you have done and all that you have given me and all the blessings with which you've blessed me, may I be truly grateful by being a blessing to others. May this church with which you've blessed us be a blessing to the community by constantly looking for those who are most in need and being available to them. May every blessing that we receive keep moving. And on this Thanksgiving Day, may each of us attend to that spiritual discipline of thanksgiving that keeps it all moving.